Welcome back to my channel. Today I am sharing with you 5 meals that my family has eaten the last couple of weeks. Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe. You can also hit the notification bell so you are notified every time I upload a new video. Okay, today we are going to be making a Olive Garden chicken pasta, and it goes in the crock pot, so really easy. So you're going to need some noodles, but you don't actually cook them until later when everything is done. So I'm just using elbow macaroni. You could use whatever kind of pasta you like though. Then I have some chicken breasts. These are still frozen, so I will just cook the chicken longer than what the recipe says. 1 block of cream cheese. I thought that I got Parmesan cheese, but I got Asiago, so I'm going to use this. We do have a little bit of Parmesan cheese in the fridge actually, I just thought of, so I'll probably grab that out as well so that we use it up and then it has the Parmesan flavor. And then a 16-ounce bottle of the Olive Garden Italian dressing. I'm sure you could use any Italian dressing that you like. Aldi just happened to have the Olive Garden brand. So you put these ingredients together in your crock pot, cook on high for 4 hours or low for 5 to 6 hours. I'm going to cook mine on low for the majority of the time, and then getting closer to dinner time I'll check the chicken, since it is still frozen, to see if I need to bump it up to high to finish it out. And then you cook your pasta and add your pasta, and I will leave the recipe linked down in the description if you would like to make this and have the exact measurements and all of that. So let's go ahead and get into it. So first I am just going to spray the bottom of my crock pot. My chicken is still frozen, so I'll have to cook it a little bit longer, but then you just add in the cream cheese, add in the Italian dressing, and then add in some Parmesan cheese. And I did find this Parmesan cheese in the fridge, so I just used this instead of the Asiago. And then I cooked it on low, and I cooked it for about 7 hours because the chicken was frozen, and then it fell apart. I was going to take it out of the crock pot to show you how to shred it, but it literally started falling apart. And then I cooked up my macaroni noodles and threw those in there as well. And when I plated it up, I took some of the Asiago cheese and just grated a little bit on top. And then we served this with some nectarines and then just some buttered bread. The next meal I am going to share with you is a shredded pork baked potato. So kind of like a loaded baked potato. So first I'm just starting out by cooking up my pork. And I got this at Aldi, so it was a pretty good price. I don't want the string left on because I don't need it to hold together in any sort of shape. So I am just removing that, and then I'm going to be seasoning it. And I did season both sides, but I only showed you guys one side. And so I am using some garlic powder, some garlic salt, some paprika, oregano leaves, onion powder, ground mustard, and then I have this Pampered Chef Chipotle dry seasoning that I used. And then I did also throw on some Worcestershire sauce and salt and pepper. I let that cook all day. It cooked on low for 8 hours. And then when it was closer to dinner time, I got our baked potatoes ready. So I washed them really well. I'm using baking potatoes and then poking it with a fork, poking some holes in it, and then drizzling with olive oil and putting some salt on top. And then I wrap it in foil and put it in the microwave, or not the microwave, in the oven at 375 for an hour. And then they weren't quite done, but you can cook baked potatoes in a microwave. So I just took the foil off of them and I finished them in the microwave, which is why I messed up and said microwave before. So I just put them in the microwave. I cut them in half and put them in the microwave for 7 more minutes. So I am just shredding up the pork, and because it had been cooking all day, it came apart really easy. I'm barely pulling anything here. The biggest thing I had to do here was take off the fat. This was a pretty fatty piece of pork, and so I just wanted to make sure that I got all of that out so that we weren't biting into a big chunk of fat while we were eating.
I'm out of reasons, I'm out of rhyme, but I'll only tell you that I'm out of time. I'm sick of love songs, I'm tired of this, and I wanna tell you straight just like it is. You're watching me like you want me.
Before these, we just took our baked potato and we put some nacho cheese on there, the pork, some barbecue sauce, and then I also put some onions and jalapenos on mine. But this was really good. And then we used the leftover pork later in the week to have barbecue pork sandwiches. The next recipe I have is an easy cornbread taco bake. This was really good, but there are a couple things that I would change. Okay, so first you're starting with a boxed corn muffin mix. I just use this 98-cent Jiffy one. Mix it up according to the box directions, and then I put it in an 8x8 baking dish. If I were making this again, I would use a bigger baking dish, not a 9x13. I think that would be too big, but like an in-between one, between the 8x8 and the 9x13, because this was really thick. But then you put that in the oven and start baking it. And I will leave the recipes for anything I made off of a recipe in this video linked down in the description so that you can follow it exactly if you would like to make these recipes. But while that was baking, I started making up my taco meat. So I just have some hamburger that I am browning up, and then I do have this taco seasoning blend from Sam's Club instead of a packet. But a little tip, the lid of these containers is about 1/4 of a cup, which is approximately how much comes in a packet. So I just use that much, and then I like to add a little bit more chili powder to our taco meat when I'm using a mix like this, and then adding in a little bit of water and letting that simmer. And then you're going to add a can of corn that's drained and a can of Rotel, and I just had an Aldi brand one, but the tomatoes with the chilies in it, and let that simmer while your cornbread is finishing. And then you're going to take some sour cream and mix it with shredded cheese, and that is going to be kind of like a sour cream topping, if you will. So then you pull your cornbread out, and mine was not done all the way through, but this goes back in the oven, so that's okay. But this is also why I would use a bigger pan, because the outsides of this was pretty much done, but the inside, the middle, was still very underdone. But you just put your taco meat mixture on top, and then you put your sour cream cheese mixture on top of that, and top with a little more cheese, and then this goes back into the oven. And it looked really pretty coming out. It did not hold together, like the layers didn't hold together when we took it out of the pan to eat, but so it didn't look pretty, but it tasted very good. And then we just topped ours with some hot sauce, and we ate it with some tortillas as well.
Like it is, bend open my heart like you're fearless. Steal all the gold you can get, you can get. Show me your love, leave me breathless, breathless. I'm out of patience, I'm out of feels, but I guess I'm waiting around for something real. I'm going crazy, like what's the deal? 'Cause I want you to show me what you feel. You're watching me like you want me, but you're still holding back, still holding back. Honestly, you're annoying me with the way that you keep playing. Show me your love like it is, like it is. Bend open my heart like you're fearless. Steal all the gold you can get, you can get.
Tonight for dinner, we are going to do a pizza pull-apart bread, or bubble pizza is the recipe that my mom had when we were growing up, is what it was called. This can also be made in a bundt cake pan, which is where the pull-apart comes from. It's kind of like monkey bread if you do it that way. We don't have a bundt pan, so I'm just going to use an 8x8 baking dish. But for this recipe, you're just going to need a jar of some pizza sauce, whatever kind you would like, 2 cans of biscuits that you're going to cut up, and then whatever toppings you like on pizza. We're just doing pepperonis and cheese tonight, so I have some pepperonis. I have some Asiago cheese here from a previous recipe that I didn't use all of, so I'm going to shred some of that up. And then I have 2 partial bags of mozzarella cheese here that we're going to go ahead and get used up. So really simple process. You just cut the biscuits up, put your toppings on it, top with cheese, cover with foil, and then you will bake at 350 degrees for 20 minutes. Take the foil off and bake for another 10 to 15 minutes until your cheese is nice and bubbly and starts to get golden on the top. But very simple, easy, delicious recipe, especially if you're in a hurry and you don't need to dirty any dishes. You just, except for what you're baking in. Like, there's no bowls involved. I am going to use kitchen scissors to cut up the biscuits, and I will shred the cheese, but other than that, like, there's no bowls, no spoons, nothing like that. So it's really great, especially if you've got a lot of summer activities going on or anything like that. So let's go ahead and get this thrown together so we can get it in the oven. So like I said, you literally just cut up the biscuits with scissors and just cut them into small pieces. They don't have to be uniform or anything like that. Okay, so you can't see my face, but I have decided I'm just gonna do 1 can of the biscuits because this is already pretty full, and there's only 3 adults eating tonight. Ryder might not eat some of this because he's been going through a picky phase for what seems like forever. So this is gonna be plenty for just the 3 of us. So I'm actually not going to do the other can of biscuits. I'll just throw those in the freezer, or pop it into the, or put it back in the fridge or pop them into the freezer or something. So now we're gonna add the toppings. Maybe if I can get the jar of, I can't get the pizza sauce open, so I need to recruit some help. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Pour the sauce over your biscuits, put the pepperoni on top of that, and then the cheese on top of that, and then you're gonna cover with foil and bake. The recipe that I have in our family cookbook said to cook for 20 minutes. And then some of the recipes I found online said 30 minutes. I cooked this for probably 35 minutes, and some of the biscuits were still just a touch underdone. The biscuits that were in the middle, that might be because of the size of pan that I used. If I used one that was a little bit bigger, I might have had a little more luck with it only taking 20 minutes. But either way, a really good recipe, especially for kiddos. And we did not serve this with anything. We just ate it as is on this night, kind of like you would pizza. The last recipe I'm going to share with you are mini barbecue bacon cheddar meatloafs. So this is a different recipe that I've never tried. So you take a pound of ground beef, some sweet chili sauce, some bacon that I had cooked earlier, and some cheese that I had shredded myself. I'm using Colby Jack cheese. This recipe, I will leave it linked. It was, I cut the recipe in half because I didn't want to make quite as many. And then you added some breadcrumbs, an egg, and some seasonings. So we've got onion powder, seasoned salt, and garlic powder. And I did put in a little bit of pepper. And then some for sauce to make it like the sauce. There's Worcestershire sauce and some yellow mustard. And you mix that all together. You can follow directions, measurements perfectly if you would like. With something like this, I usually don't. If it seems too wet, I just add in a little more breadcrumbs. If it seems too dry, I just add in a little more of whatever the sauce mixture is. So mix that all together, and then it goes into a muffin tin. You don't need to spray this because your beef is going to be a little greasy and it's not going to stick. So then once they're all filled, you want to create a little bit of a divot in the middle because you are going to then top with some barbecue sauce. And I just have this one my dad got from work. So we're going to put a little bit of that on top and then bake it. These were good. They were on the sweet side, probably because of the chili sauce, but not bad. Not like a bad sweet. They just were sweet. I think it would also be really good if you added in like some chili powder or cayenne to make it kind of like a sweet and spicy, but the bacon in them tasted really good. And then we served these with mashed potatoes and some baked beans. But that is everything that I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked what you saw. Don't forget to subscribe before you go. And leave me a comment down below. I love interacting with you guys. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.